Hey guys, how's it going? Um, Once again, there's delayed count. Well, I think the whole Facebook Live thing, so I think I'm live. Not sure, but here I am. Hello, happy Tuesday to you guys. How are you? Like usual, I'm going live on a Tuesday, but I am going live every day this week to talk about this content calendar that I put together for you guys, specifically for bookkeepers. But the calendar goes into 30 days of pre-written social media posts. So instead of having to worry about how to come up with new content, how to balance your content with enough sales posts and value posts, what to write, taking the time to write it, I've already written it all out for you with my writing background, with my marketing experience, and it's just ready to buy and use. It's basically copy and paste. It's got some fill in the blank for personalization. But even if you're not in a place to buy that, even if you just want to learn how to write your own content right now and you're bootstrapping, that's fine. Um, I really just want you guys to succeed in your business and getting your visibility out there. Um, and so I want to teach you some of the things that I do in order to write content. So one thing that I want to talk about today, which you may not have heard about, is called a swipe file. This is something that that marketing writers use, the term that marketing writers have. So basically, it's a collection of um, tested, effective marketing content. So, for example, I have one. So what that looks like for me is I'm still figuring out like which software I want to use for it, but I have a collection of snippets from my business coach and from a sales coach I follow and respect about sales posts, things that they've done to promote their businesses. I There's a speech coach in that also work with my business coach. She used to be a copywriter, so she has all of these suggestions that are super helpful in our mastermind group about how to craft your content in a way that's effective from a marketing standpoint. She's given us simple templates and I actually save those and use them all the time. They're super helpful and effective. I also have a swipe. Part of my swipe file comes from a content marketing course that I took recently. The one that I got on headlines alone is my favorite one. I use it all the time, at least every week, probably multiple times a week, to make sure that I am making things that are getting people's attention. Because some of you may know that headlines, most people don't even get past the headline. So you have to make sure you have a really killer headline to get them to click on it and open stuff up. Not as important in social media, but it is to an element because, of course, you can only see so much content at once. You want the first few lines to be really attention grabbing. Anyways, that's my swipe file. These are copies and snippets of what other people have done well. And so if I'm at a loss, if I'm feeling uninspired, if I'm not sure where to start with a headline or a sales pitch or a value post, I can go back in there and look at examples that other people have done well and see how they laid it out, see how they talked, and go from there. So other people who use it in their industries are like authors and publishers. So they may have swipe files of, okay, I have a collection of what best-selling titles are. So then authors and publishers will know what to write about in that sense. Publicists have that. My dad, for example, he's a public relations guy in Bucyrus, Ohio. There's the word. So he probably has a swipe file of press release headlines. You you learn from the best. You always want to be learning from those who are better from you, and that's what the swipe file is. You're holding on to that wisdom. So copywriters, content marketers like me, and guess what? Here's the thing: internet marketers. This is something internet marketers definitely have. They save sales pages, landing pages, websites, social media posts, all of these things. And you know what? This is where it's important, no matter what your profession is. Even if you're a bookkeeper, even if you're not a words person, maybe even especially if you're not a words person, this is where it becomes important. If you're an online entrepreneur, you're your own online marketer. You have to do your own marketing writing when you're writing on social media. I know it doesn't feel that way. I know it feels like you're just throwing stuff into the social media void, but you have a goal. You want to use social media to get yourself more business visibility, show that you know you're talking about. And there are certain ways to write things that make it more effective, especially if you write it a lot over time. Um, for example, there's another thing, and like example, it's almost like a swipe file. There are lots of books out there that are basically swipe files. So you're your own internet marketer, and you have to figure out how to write this stuff. I'd encourage you to go look for books that talk about like marketing language. For example, there's a book that I haven't gotten into a lot, but was recommended to me by someone I really trust. It's called Words That Sell by Richard Byan, Byan. Anyways, it's really popular with copywriters, mostly because it focuses on language that's more powerful, language that moves people to sell. Um, you don't just want to fill a social media feed just to fill empty space. That's not what we're doing, right? We're trying to create results from this stuff, right? So that's what I mean. Um, so you're your own digital marketer. You may not have a writing background. If you're like a lot of the bookkeepers I talk to, you're not comfortable writing, it takes you a long time, you don't know where to start, you don't know how to do it, then the best place to start is by finding other people who do it well and then mimicking it. I'm not talking about like taking it for your own or anything like that, mimicking it. Find out what they're doing right and then use it to make your own writing more powerful. It can make your writing so much better, so much faster. Um, you can make effective writing fast, even if you're not a good writer, if you have good examples to work from. Um, there, another reason that's good for having a swipe file is, as you guys know, there are different types of writing. Like it can get boiled down a whole lot. I'm obviously not a novelist. I'm not a journalist. That's different. I do content marketing for bookkeepers. It's a very specific kind of writing, and even then, it drills down more into the types of writing. Like I said, I have a swipe file specifically for headlines. That's really one of my favorite ones that I use a lot. A headline has a different strategy than writing like a social media post, which is a different strategy from writing a 2,000 word blog, which is different from, you get the idea. So the examples that I use for a good blog or a good website page are not the same examples I would use for a good headline. It's different styles of writing. So when I have a swipe file with like subcategories like that, it helps me have starting places for different types of writing. So maybe it's been a while since I've had to write a headline, so I need to go back and figure out what worked. Um, Another good thing for swipe files is you can organize it in a way that or tailor it in a way like when you're saving these examples, try to think about what you are trying to accomplish with what you're writing. Are you trying to get people to sign up for a course? Look for other people who sell courses. Are you trying to get people to buy a product? Look for other people who sell similar products. What is your goal when you're writing this stuff? And then figure out other people who have similar goals and see what they're doing well. Um, Figure out see what they're doing well. Sorry, I'm going back to my notes. Sorry, guys. um, Learn from those who are doing it better than you. Look for posts that have multiple shares. Look for posts that have a lot of comments. Um, but a word of caution, just because a post has a lot of comments doesn't mean it resulted in sales. I have heard that many, many times from my friends who do content marketing or who do sales. They may get a ton of comments, but it doesn't translate into sales. So, but look for ones that do have comments because there are different types of posts, and I'll go into that here in a minute. Um, so some of the things that you'll pick up from looking at these good examples, like for example, maybe there's a bookkeeper you really admire, like the way she runs her website or does her social media. You can follow her and see how she's doing things. Uh, Look over it, analyze it, see what the patterns are between her different posts. Um, and you know what, even not just bookkeepers, but look for other people who sell well online. Start looking at what they're doing and you'll be able to pick up patterns that reflect rules of good copywriting that you didn't even know were rules, but you're picking it up organically. For example, you'll notice that a lot of them talk in first person, like they say you, your, I. It's a lot more engaging. They use more active voice. They don't say she thought about going to the store. They say she went to the store. She ran to the store. It's much more active. You'll see that they have an emotional appeal. But there's always, when they're trying to sell something, there's a call to action: call today, email us now, take hold of our offer. There's a call to action. And then also you'll see that they talk about the client, not themselves. No one comes here to listen to me talk about my story. They're here to figure out, how does this chick help me? How does her content help me? That's what I'm saying. You'll pick up those patterns when you read the content of people who are good at this. So, but without having to go through like a book, you'll absorb it more naturally. Um, it's just like, and it's just good to have that example to work off of. So yeah, it's really helpful. So this is how I would suggest that you use it in your bookkeeping business, because of course I do content writing for bookkeepers. That's my niche audience. Um, so once again, one of the things I would urge you to start with, if you are wanting to sit down and create basically a collection of good examples of how to promote yourself on Facebook, if you're trying to figure out where to get started, start with your goals. What do you want people to do when they see your social media site or social media feed? What action do you want them to take? What do you want them to know about you? Things of that nature. However, I say that, making goals, but whenever I have this conversation with my clients, most of the time bookkeepers will say, I have no clue where to start. I don't know how to write these kinds of things. So I would encourage you to, this is something I've talked about before. And if you want me to go into this more depth with you, just shoot me a message. I'll send you a little more information. I always talk about there being an 80-20 balance. So say you have 100 posts, 80 of them should be about valuable topics to your readers without any sales, and should be about like personal engagement things. Share a picture of your cat, ask about, if they have pets, or things of that nature. Only 20% should be sales, because you don't want to turn your social feed into a commercial that makes people tune you out. That's not what you want. You want them to build trust in you, to have a relationship with you. So you have to give a lot. So one of the subcategories, or some of the subcategories, it's a very noisy little bird out here. um, some of the subcategories I have is I take note of people who have really good personal or engagement posts. So they may ask a question, have like 50 comments, and it's like, oh, that's 50 people that they're talking to. It gives them more visibility. I want to be able to get that result too. So I take a snapshot of it. Value posts, I like seeing what other people are sharing. What free download are they giving? What links are they sharing? What tips are they giving? I'll save how they've written it, and I will try and adapt it to my business. So, of course, if you're following, a speech coach and you're a bookkeeper, of course, that's not going to translate one-to-one for what you would write as far as a tip for bookkeeping. But it would give you an example of, oh, this is how she shares something of value. Now I can use that and put something bookkeeping of value. Just anything that helps your clients, a quick win, specifically probably answering questions that they've had more recently. And also sales posts. I have a few templates that I keep myself, things that I've made, things that I've seen other people do well. And it's so much easier to create this content once you have examples to kind of kickstart the brain process. I talked about this yesterday. When you have more of an outline, when you have a starting point, it makes it easier to follow through and finish content, makes it whole less painful. And swipe files are a part of that. It gets your brain going in the right direction without having to start from scratch. So those are the things I would encourage you to look around and start following. Follow just good social media people, and also try and find bookkeepers who are good at writing their social media feeds. Now, I am in bookkeeping websites and Facebook feeds a lot. That's my business. That's what I do. So I've been in easily hundreds of them. And I've been keeping a list. The list I have is probably getting close to 80 different websites and social media feeds. Only a handful of them really stand out, especially with consistency and quality. But of course, it's a starting point for you to look at what other people are doing well. Feel free to shoot me a message. I'd be happy to send you that list. Another thing to point out is it's an opportunity. If not many bookkeepers are doing this well, think how much you'll stand out if you do it well. So yeah, try and find other bookkeepers who do it well, or just anyone who does it well, and save clips of their examples for when you're writing stuff for your content. Okay, so I also want to share with you some tools that you can use for this swiping thing. So basically, you're just keeping clips. Now, you can do this whatever way works well. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure out how to mesh all of mine together, but I have found multiple things that are good and that you can give a try. It could be as simple as like you're scrolling through on your phone on Facebook and someone leaves a good post. So sometimes I just, I'll be laying in bed. I'm not going to screw around with, getting onto my computer. I'll take a couple screenshots and I have an album on my phone specifically for good social media posts. And then I can go back to it later for inspiration, for outlines, for ways to write things I'm struggling with. So that's an easy one. I also save them to folders on my Google Drive. I sort them a little bit more, so I have like the value posts. I have, the engagement posts, stuff like that. Once again, uh, and then if you want to make the content more searchable, another thing I've done is I'll copy and paste the actual text into like a Word doc or an Excel sheet, and keep track of. I also keep track of who wrote it, because that tells me this is someone I want to be learning from, whose content I want more of to keep learning from. So try and keep note of that as well, especially if you copy the text, because with screenshots, of course, it's right there. But um, and another tool that I've really been getting into recently. So you guys know about Evernote, but they have this internet snipping tool. I really, really, really like it. Mostly because it's just so freaking easy and you can organize it and add tags to it. So I was playing with it today for social media, because of course you can like bookmark pages and you can, save article text, but how do you deal with social media? Well, they do have a screenshot option in the Evernote clipping. So what I do is I'll take a screenshot of a social media post I like. I'll put it in, my folder specifically for that, and then I'll add a category. It's a social post. It's a sales post. It's by this author that I like, and then I can save it that way too, along with other things that I use for reference. So Evernote, look into it. It's I use Chrome as far as like my internet browser. There's a little plug-in. Is that what it's called? The little thing on your top bar. I've got a little green elephant in my top bar for the Evernote thing, but look it up. It's a free plug-in. I'm assuming there's a limit at some point for how many images you use. I'm just getting started with it, but I'm liking how it works so far. Um, so another thing about swipe files, one of the reasons why I'm encouraging you to do it is because it takes time to get together a good collection. So it's I'm in groups with like other copywriters and content marketers, and it's not uncommon for you to see them selling their some of their swipe files. So like here's the best headlines that I have helped me. You can buy them for like $10, $15, whatever. I don't know anything for bookkeepers. Maybe that's an idea for me to see if I can assemble for you guys. Um, but swipe files take a while to get a good collection going. So if you look around, there are resources out there for being able to purchase someone else's set. I did come across a website today. Let's see if I wrote it down. Swipefile.com. Looks like it's more for marketers, but it's a free resource where you can like see more like design stuff as well. Um, but just in case you're hearing this and thinking I don't have time to go through and clip everything, I'm just thinking of you doing it, like as you're browsing on the side and collecting it over time. But if you feel like you need this faster, of course there's books out there with this, and there are people selling this stuff online. And then honestly, it's just like that calendar that I talked about all week and that I'm selling now. It's 30 days of pre-written content. And that's basically a swipe file for you. And it's way more than that. It's basically copy and paste content. It's ready to go. And then I have it, I have the layout designed in such a way so that you can use it to make more. It's like you can use this content as a swipe file. You can hold on to this because I have it categorized into value posts and personal posts and value posts. I, use certain links for value posts, certain tips in value posts. I have certain language in sales posts, and there are multiples, so you can take that and use it as examples in future posts that you put up for your business. This is all stuff that I've learned from very experienced marketers, people that I've paid to learn this stuff from. Uh, it's good information. I put my heart and soul into it. I wouldn't have released it if I didn't feel really good about it, and really believed it could help you. Anyway, so that is for sale right now. There also is, and I have the link in the description, whichever part of your screen that description is on. So if you want to purchase it, you definitely can. If you have any questions about it, just let me know. Um, but yeah, it's meant to take the stress and the time out of writing and posting to social media, and doing it well. But once again, I get it. Not everyone can buy something like that. So this is one of the ways that I create that kind of content. I learn from the best. I save those clips over time. And I use tools to assemble it and give myself a head start. I never start from scratch. I learn from the best and I try and write off of them for examples. And like, every other copywriter out there, I have a swipe file. And even if you aren't a copywriter, you are marketing for yourself, I would encourage you to have a swipe file too. Once again, it's not hard to assemble. It just takes time to really get good content together for it. Anyways, that's what I have for you today. I hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. It's actually really beautiful here. I was outside in a tank top and shorts earlier, but our balcony is a little more windy. Hopefully, it wasn't too windy so you can hear me. Anyways, I will talk to you guys later. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Okay? Bye.